What should I be prioritising? Eating nutritious food or meals that minimise my stress?
If you squeeze lemon to your dark leafy greens and spinach, it can increase the absorption of the iron by up to 65%.
Cooking double quantities and then either freezing or putting in the fridge is just such an easy way to save yourself time and money.
Don't fear fat. Cholesterol and dietary fat are the raw materials for sex hormones.
3 or 4 different listeners all said, I know I need to eat more protein. Is it true? Do we all need to eat more protein?
One piece of information may be right for one person and very wrong for another. I think we need to listen to our bodies a lot more.
You're listening to the Too Much Information podcast, where no women's health topic is off limits. Before we get started, I just want to say thank you. This podcast would be nothing without you. Follow along if you're not already, and if you like what you hear, please spread the word. Enjoy the episode.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Too Much Information. I am very excited about this topic today. I know it's one that everyone loves to talk about, which is food. And specifically, today we're talking about how to eat healthily when you're very busy, which I think is something that most people can relate to. I am joined today by co-founder, health coach and nutritionist-in-training, Emily Warburton-Adams. Emily, it's so nice to have you here today.
Such a pleasure to be here.
So for context, we are almost 6 months into a kitchen renovation, which means that cooking is pretty limited at the moment. That has been coupled with a time where I've been really conscious of trying to eat well. Anyone who's listened before will know that we've spoken quite a lot about fertility and diet. We've got episodes on that already. So I'm really, really conscious of making sure that I'm getting my Mediterranean diet and my different plants and my different colours and all of that good stuff. And it's tricky when you're relying heavily on ready meals. So I did a bit of a deep dive and I came across Nuuda, and I was absolutely delighted to come across you guys. Really, really resonated with your whole ethos and your purpose, and importantly, the meals are very delicious too. So I thought I would get in touch, and I'm really pleased that we're able to have this chat today. Emily, I'd just love you to tell everyone here who you are and a little bit about what has led you to what you do today with Nuuda and I think other businesses as well.
Thank you for having me, and we're so glad you're a customer and enjoying the meals as well. I qualified as a health coach sort of 10 years ago. I'm studying nutrition now, and we run 2 businesses that are both food businesses and help people eat well. That's our mission. So we run a catering company called Power Food, standing for the power of wellness, and that's a sort of a corporate workplace catering company that we started 7 years ago. And then we run Nuuda, which is our ready meal company that holds the same ethos, same quality of food, same nutrition design, chef made. And Nuuda came about over COVID because we were a newly founded business and obviously all offices closed, so we lost sort of a revenue stream quite quickly, and some of our clients were asking us to send meals to their employees working from home. And that's where the sort of, the ready meal concept for us came from. And we've organically grown it since then. The customers who come to us have really, researched the market and found an option with clean ingredients, really good processes, the quality and, the flavor, it's evident. We really care about what we do and helping people eat well. And my passion for health and nutrition has sort of come from personal experiences over my teenage years where, I really learned the power of nutrition on mind health and physical health. And then again, in my early mid-20s, I got really bad psoriasis. There was a point when I thought I was eating super well, a balanced diet, and I was getting my protein and my fibre, etc. And I did some, testing and saw a nutritionist over this time. And, the crux of it were my gut health wasn't up to scratch, and I needed to rebuild my, my lining and my gut bacteria. And that really kind of struck a different nutrition journey that made me look at the quality of the produce and how it was cooked and other things. So yeah, we're very interested in nutrition and health through and through, and really helping people eat well and educating at the same time.
Really, really great. I guess what I want to caveat this episode with is that, yes, we're going to be talking a little bit about your business, which is brilliant, but more widely, we're going to be talking about the principles that you've brought into your businesses and how people can apply those day to day, particularly with regards to diet when you are short on time, potentially on a budget, because these are all things that are just such common issues and challenges that people face today. I think it's only appropriate, though, to start with a very important question, which is, what would your perfect meal look like, Emily?
This question is always so tough because it's very much about what you're fancying at the time.
It so is.
And I'm not someone who religiously eats the same thing, because I know that, you know, lots of people do like to do that. But I'd say either like an Asian fusion dish or a seafood risotto with a tomato and onion salad. It's like one of my favorites.
That sounds delicious. Oh my God. And we are recording this on a very hot day as well. So I'd imagine that neither of us are going to be craving anything particularly hot or stewy at the moment. No, they sound great. Can we start by talking a bit about why nutrition is such a confusing topic? I think that, like so many things, the rise of social media and the kind of availability of information has meant that people feel slightly bombarded by a lot of different pieces of advice and fads when it comes to eating well. As somebody who's 32, have lived through the kind of, luckily, the tail end of the 90s, where it was all about eating as little as possible, have sort of seen the vilification of fats right the way through to avocados flying off the shelves so much that they were almost sold out everywhere, weren't there? It's just extremely overwhelming. And I would love your take on why so many people, and particularly so many women, feel overwhelmed about what to eat.
I mean, I think you've sort of hit the nail on the head with there just being such vast amounts of information out there, and different sources of data, when, you know, it comes down to individuality. And I think, you know, we've got to a point, you know, in society where we seek external you know, credibility and information, where, and without listening to our own bodies as much as we used to. And we do have sort of, you know, an internal ability and wisdom. There are cravings for a reason, and there are, you know, our bodies feel certain ways after certain foods for a reason. And one piece of information may be right for one person and, you know, very wrong for another. And, you know, at the end of the day, I think for most people, it really is about stripping it back to the bare basics before overcomplicating things.
I really like that piece of advice. I think quite recently, this is totally anecdotal, but met with a friend who'd been a lifelong vegetarian pretty much in her adult life. And she said that she had suddenly started craving steak. She was like, I don't know what it is, but I just want a steak. And then she had got some blood tests back and her iron levels had been really low. So is that an example of that?
100%. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, across the board, yeah, that's a very good example of a craving. I think, yeah, and often that also, you know, there was a big rise in veganism a couple of years ago without a lot of information about how to eat properly on a vegan diet. And it is actually, you know, it is a bit more complex and time consuming and can be more expensive. You can do it in, you know, in a cost clever way, but there are certain nutrients that you have to, you know, be careful of and lack in that diet, and food combinations that should be made together to ensure, you know, you're absorbing the iron, you know, in the spinach and things, because it's a different form of iron, you know, than you find in animal-based products.
What do you need? I need to know this now.
If you squeeze lemon to your dark leafy greens and spinach, it can increase the absorption of the iron by up to 65%. That's an example of of like little things. And because protein is made up of, a complete protein is 9 amino acids. So your animal protein all contain all the 9 amino acids that you need to, to regenerate cells, to help build muscle, to help produce hormones, and everything you need. And lots of vegan proteins, so your grains, your nuts, your pulses, lack key amino acids. So you need to pair them together to have that complete protein. And it can be simple. It's like brown rice and peas, or, grains and seeds together. Because like there's so many protein powders on the market, and actually like if you're vegan, the best one to have is a brown rice and pea protein powder.
Wow.
But I just feel like that information isn't like kind of clearly communicated.
Not at all.
And you're just like, where do I
No.
start with a protein powder,
Yeah, I completely agree. That's fascinating. You touched on it earlier about the importance of having the kind of foundations of a healthy meal. I would love to know, what does a good, healthy, nutritious plate look like?
Yeah, well, so it's the basics of, your protein, which is a palm size, and we all have a different, size palm. So that's based on, that reflects also individuality. And then some complex carbohydrates, making up a quarter of the plate. If they're complex, if they're your brown rice, your quinoas, your pulses, potatoes and things, it just helps steady the blood sugar spikes. And then you want half a plate of your vegetables and fruits, and always add fats to that meal. Lots of vitamins A, E, D, and K can't be absorbed without fats. And also certain antioxidants are optimized with fats. There's so much benefit to adding fats, and it has been demonized, and lots of people are still scared of fats. But they help build our sex hormones, our hormones. Our brain is a very fatty organ. They're just so essential. They make up every single cell in the body. So that's sort of like the balance we want to go for. Protein, unrefined carbohydrates, which give us the fibre, and then a nice half a plate of plant points, essentially vegetables, fruits, and then your nuts and or fats, oils.
We had an episode with nutritionist Jen Walpole, who specialises in fertility and pregnancy nutrition, and she said that she always recommended a drizzle of extra virgin olive oil with every meal, which is great.
It makes it more tasty as well. That's like, the main thing. Food is meant to be enjoyed as well. So
yes, I agree with that. Can we dive into a couple of the kind of biggest buzzwords in the nutrition world, and just get your view on breaking them down and making them simpler? So the big one that I'd love to start with is protein. We had 3 or 4 different listeners, and they all said, I know I need to eat more protein. Is it true? Do we all need to eat more protein?
Well, it depends on how much protein that particular person is eating. But lots of us don't eat enough protein. And then there was the sort of, the focus on the vegan proteins. We want to be getting the amino acids in there. And then depending on our age and our activity level and things, we want to be focusing on protein. When we hit our 30s, we naturally start decreasing in, muscle mass and things if we're less active than we used to be. And we want to up our protein a little bit there. And then especially in our 40s, when it starts to, further decrease. But we sort of want to be aiming for 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight. So, around 45 grams if you're relatively sedentary for a whole day. And it's, it can be added in, that can be different sources at every meal.
What is some of your favourite sources of protein that people might not necessarily think of as protein?
Quinoa is a complete protein. Hemp seeds and chia seeds are a complete protein. Chia seeds you want to be soaking before eating to help digestion. Otherwise it can be slightly irritating on the gut. And they count as your fibre and your fats as well. So it's a really nice, easy thing to have together. And then, your cheeses, your animal proteins. I really like having trout instead of salmon. Just better from a sustainability point of view. Really good source of your omegas and things.
That's brilliant. What about fibre? That seems to sort of be getting a bit more attention more recently. Why is fibre so important?
Yeah, fibre is essential for so many processes in the body. And I think it's sort of probably more widely known now that 96% of the UK is deficient in fibre. And that comes from the highly processed diets and the processing that happens with foods. And it can be, very easily up by just very simple swaps of white rice to brown rice, white pasta to a whole wheat pasta, a white bread to a multigrain. Really simple things that aren't going to impact your routine. I mean, it's so important because it helps bind for excretion during digestion. It also helps expel unwanted things from your digestive tract, and also like excess estrogen and things like that. Like fiber is very important for supporting those processes and helping blood sugar balance. So that impacts your mood, your mental health, your energy levels, your hormone balance, so many things. You want to be getting sort of a good balance of your soluble fiber, so your oats, your beans, your pulses, and then things like cooked and cooled potato is very good. It helps feed your good bacteria in your gut.
Why? Why is it different to just cooked potato?
It becomes a resistant starch, which sort of behaves differently. So yeah, very good if, really nice new potato salad, super healthy.
Yeah.
And then your insoluble fiber, which, essentially helps bulk up the matter. So your brown rice and skins of vegetables, things with the husk on them. That's what white rice has lost. It's lost its husk and all its, most of its minerals and vitamins and fiber. So most of us lack fiber intake, but it's a very easy thing to add with very easy swaps.
And with those swaps, do you think somebody could go from having a fiber deficient diet to having a diet that is giving them enough fiber?
Definitely. I mean, because you need 30 grams a day. So
Yeah.
if each meal, if there are options that are giving you like 3 grams of fiber, which could be the case if you're swapping it for something that's like 9 grams of fiber, it's not a very high target. It's 30 grams, which is doable.
I think this is a topic that you're quite passionate about, but what about low tox eating?
So I am quite passionate about it. I think from a day-to-day basis, we don't have time to be going to the fishmongers and the butchers and the grocers to get things that aren't packaged like that. But where we can make swaps in terms of things not being packaged in plastics, that's very good. And then essentially sort of low tox eating, it helps our detoxification processes which are there naturally. So lots of people want to do a cleanse or a detox, but what we can be doing is just supporting our natural processes that happen every day. Our liver has a heavy burden of detoxing or cleansing everything that we come across, pharmaceutical drugs, pollution, pesticides on food, alcohol, everything we intake. So if we're just trying to make some little changes to reduce that burden, it's supporting those processes naturally. When it comes to foods, it's expensive to swap to organic. Organic foods have a lot lower pesticide residues, and that does have an impact on our bodies from an accumulation basis. I'd say, look at the dirty dozen. So they're the foods that have been analysed on an annual basis that have the highest residues of multiple pesticides. If we can afford it, opt for organic when it comes to those options. And if we can't do that, and with everything we buy, soak your vegetables and fruits in bicarbonate of soda for 15 minutes before you use them, and that's been shown to reduce pesticides by up to 96%.
Oh my God, that's amazing. I know that my mum started doing that, so I feel like I need to start doing that too. Yeah.
I do it at home, and it is, once you get in the habit of it, it's easy to keep up with. It was hard to get my boyfriend to start doing it, but it's easy little hacks that just support the detoxic burn.
That's exactly what we need. And I'll put a link to somewhere which has the Dirty Dozen in the show notes too, so anyone who's watching can find that really easily. We've touched a little on ultra processed foods, but I think the question that I would like to ask, particularly thinking about people who are busy and who maybe don't have a choice but to be reaching for processed foods at times, how bad are they?
I think, again, it's about balance, and we don't want to demonize them. You can treat yourself and have options that are convenient and easy and not going to cause you stress, and will fill a hole essentially, but we just don't want to be eating them every day, and we don't want them to make up a very high portion of our diet, because they're anti-nutrients. Essentially, it has a bit of a counter effect, and it does mean our bodies need to work a bit harder to keep up with things and the processes naturally. But there's a spectrum. Read the ingredients, and if there's lots in it that you don't you can't recognize, and don't opt for it. But I think there's also quite good things on the market now which are healthier alternatives of processed options. I think you will notice an impact on how you feel after eating different options. So
it's so true. So true. And I think I'm kind of glad that there's almost been a resurgence in popularity in things like tinned and canned goods too. I think about a certain very popular bean company. Oh my God, they're the best. I love them. The bulb bean company. God, they're so good.
So good. I love
so
bulb
delicious.
Bean.
I've never been like a Heinz baked bean person, but give me a jacket potato with some their baked beans on it, and delicious.
Really good, and it's in glass, which is really nice because you don't have the plastic and things, and
Exactly.
the metal.
And like that is an easy meal, isn't it? You can bake your potato, have that ready, have it cold if you fancy it, and then chuck some beans and maybe some greens on. Delicious.
That is one of my really quick go-tos, like great Sunday evening meal.
Completely agree. That is a go-to in this house. So we have a listener question as well, and this person said, I finished IVF. I just want to have a reset and feel more balanced. Do you have any tips?
I mean, I think, again, like I'm not a fertility expert, so I don't want to like delve in, but I'd say the main thing is, your body and mind have just gone through a lot. And it's not a time to put more pressure on yourself. It's a time to be kind to yourself, and, nourish and, eat things that are going to really make you feel good. And you want to focus on sort of, the basics and getting what you need, but not put yourself through any, harsh diets or cleanses and things that are going to put more pressure on your mind and body.
I fully agree. No juice cleanses, please. I would like to finish this section with a quick fire, which I call worth it or a waste. So your challenge is to answer this as quickly as you can. I'm going to give you either a food item or some kind of a topic that we see a lot on social media. And I'd love you to say whether you think it's worth it or whether you think it's a waste. Give it a miss. We're going to start with chia seeds.
I rate them.
Great. Worth it. I love a chia seed.
Worth it. Sorry, it was worth it.
Okay, that's fine. The next one, it's funny how we've covered quite a few of these already, which is a good thing, I think. Protein powder.
A miss. I mean, you want to be getting it from proper food sources where you can first. It is a secondary option. If you're struggling to get what you need in because of your time constraints or whatever it may be. No,
that's fair enough. Bone broth.
Ooh, worth it.
What do you do with your bone broth? Do you drink it straight or do you do something else with it?
I personally drink it straight. I think it's great, really rich in collagen and, healthy fats, vitamins, minerals. You do, when it comes to bone broth, want an organic one, because otherwise the bones can, there's going to be some heavy metals in them. And because of how the birds are bred. But yeah, if you only really need like sort of small amounts, and there's some great is it borough broth? Really good
Ooh.
one. Yeah.
Oh, great. I've not heard of them, but I've become quite the bone broth convert. Maybe not in this heat, but I'll get back to it. Organic fruit and veg we've touched on, and I actually think that your suggestion of looking at the Dirty Dozen is a perfect one. But if money were no object, organic fruit and veg.
Yeah, I'd say 100%
Okay,
worth it.
cool. And then the final one, freezer meals.
Worth it. I think, yeah, great. When it comes to, I mean, it retains nutrient density. It helps prevent food waste. It means you've got something to go to that's quick. There's lots of ready meal products out there that you can get chilled. And the thing is, you're having something that was delivered 3 days ago and got prepped probably the day before. And that means it's 4 or 5 days old by the time you're eating it. And something starts losing nutrition by the immediate point you cut it. You slice something. And I just think you're getting more nutrition from something that's actually been frozen.
That's such a good point.
And yeah, always like add a little salad and add your fresh greens on the side, like would say that. But yeah, I think whether you're meal prepping yourself or buying in, frozen is the way to go.
So I'd love to talk a little bit about nutrition specifically for women. And we had one listener question which said, specifically thinking about hormonal health, what should I be eating? Do you have any tips for them?
I mean, yeah, when we're looking at hormones, protein is key. We're sort of looking at the foundations here again. But protein at every meal. Hormones are built from amino acids, which is what protein's built for. So, we need them in our diet. And proteins help keep our blood sugar levels stable, which is key when it comes to hormone balance and hormone production. And then fats, again, don't fear fat. Our bodies make hormones from fat. Cholesterol and dietary fat are the raw materials for our sex hormones and steroid hormones, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. So fats are essential. Healthy fats, your olive oils, your nuts, your seeds. Olive oil is great if it's like slightly cloudy and tastes a bit peppery, like that's when it's the best types. And then fiber, it helps excretion, it helps estrogen clearance, which is important in like estrogen dominant conditions. So you'll be like PCOS, endometriosis and things. Pairing fiber with sugar helps support that blood sugar balance and cortisol level. Greek yogurt with fruit, dates with nuts, things, just pairing things so that to try and reduce that spike a little bit. And then there's like the micronutrients that we really want, magnesium for relaxation, helping your blood sugar balance, helps like PMS symptoms and things. Your omega-3 helps, helps inflammation, supports your mood and mental health. And zinc and B vitamins supports like general hormone production. They're essential. And with these, there's lots of supplements on the market and vitamins and things. And if we're struggling to get them from a diet, again, great option. But I always think first and foremost, from the diet is best, because your body perceives food very differently to a supplement. Whole foods they're designed and they're built together in a very specific way. So our bodies better absorb the nutrients in them than it would do with a supplement.
So many tips. That's absolutely fantastic. And do you think that they would stay the same for women of all ages? Or, if you're looking for somebody who is maybe in their 20s, 30s versus somebody who might be more approaching that perimenopausal age in their 40s, 50s, are there some changes that need to be considered at those times?
I mean, in your 20s, it's very important, you want to be getting your calcium and vitamin D, because it's still a very important, bone bearing period. And you want to support that the best way possible. And then when you're in your 30s, we tend to be like a bit busier, a bit higher stress levels, different priorities. And we want your omega-3s there to, really support that. And then if we're trying to conceive over that period, your choline, your B12s, your iodines, iron, and then again, sort of 40s, or vitamin D and calcium becomes very important because of the bones.
No, that's great. And actually, on the topic of testing, because I don't want people here to think that anyone is suggesting that they go and pay for a private test, but I have asked the NHS a couple of times for various different reasons, one of which being trying to conceive, to take some bloods, and they've been brilliant and really, really receptive to offering a full blood panel. So I think if anyone here who's listening is thinking like, oh, I wonder if the reason I'm feeling this way could be because I'm deficient in something, or has been trying to conceive for some time and is worried that it could be a deficiency, I would really encourage you to go to your GP if you're in the UK, and just ask, because I was really surprised by how easy it was.
Yeah, absolutely. Very receptive.
The final section that I'd like to talk about, very important, healthy eating when life gets busy, which so often it does.
Most
Yeah.
of the time.
One listener said, I want to eat well, but I just have such a busy life. What should I be prioritizing? Eating nutritious food or meals that minimize my stress?
I mean, a sort of combination of both would be great, but not overthinking sort of healthy meals, like having staples in your cupboard that you can throw together in 15-20 minutes. You can use canned pulses, salad, cheese, nice dressing, right? Sort of like summer go-to. Your stir fries, and add a protein of choice. If you're even thinking sort of like don't want to spend 20 minutes cooking a rice or chopping loads of veg, then there are prepped options, pre-chopped vegetables and the microwave rice. Yeah, I'm also like a fan of a nice sort of like protein vegetable pasta, just really quick, easy.
That
all
sounds
in
so
one.
nice. And also, in terms of busyness, we did this the other day. I knew that I was working from home the next 2 days, so we literally had a pasta with loads of veggies and salmon, and we made double quantities of it so that I then had a meal for the next day and the day after. And I think that whole like cooking, it's the same amount of time almost, isn't it? Maybe slightly more chopping, but you're cooking double quantities and then either freezing or putting in the fridge is just such an easy way to save yourself
it
time
really
and
is.
money, probably.
And then, I mean, Sunny and Luna as well. That's quite a nice. I don't know if they sell them in most supermarkets now. They do raviolis and gnocchis, which are made of like pretty much half of it is made of vegetables, so like cauliflower or spinach.
We do
and
buy
things,
this all the time. My husband buys this all the time. We've had like the squash one and the spinach one. It's delicious. Yeah.
Yeah, they're really good. As a sort of the sort of easy adding in, of your plants.
Nice. Also, for those people who do like an air fryer, absolutely delicious in the air fryer because it goes slightly crispy, which is really nice.
Oh, nice.
That's fab. So I feel like what we're saying to this person is like, you can do both. I think the idea of planning or like having some notes or taking pictures of your favorite meals that you really liked is always useful, because sometimes you're just like, oh, I don't know what to cook. I can't be bothered to think of something in the fridge.
Yeah. The decision fatigue can be a struggle. And that's where sort of like ordering like a Nuuda meal really helps. It's like, I don't need to think about it. It's just there.
Completely.
But yeah.
Yeah, no, I echo that. After a busy day, sometimes you're just like, oh, I really thank past me for either having made this and put this in the freezer or having bought this. A really simple one, but if you are in a rush running through the supermarket, are there any red flags that you would say that people should kind of look out for when they're looking at food labels?
Look out for emulsifiers because they can impact your gut health. Essentially, it can impact your lining, which affects how you absorb nutrients down the line. And it's, just check, because it can very easily be in so many things without you knowing. And Then, certain preservatives and things that you don't recognize. Ascorbic acid and things are fine. That's a natural preservative. But unnatural kind of colors and preservatives, excluding those things that your body won't recognize as natural.
I feel like brands are becoming, well, I don't know if this is a good thing or not, but brands are probably shouting more about when things are not highly processed or when things do include clean ingredients. But I don't know how legislated that is equally.
Yeah, no. I mean, some are doing it better. And then there's a bit of a movement now with nutrient density and actually listing the ingredients, which is good. I think that's a bit clearer.
Yeah. No, it's so true. One listener asked what to eat when you crave something sweet, which is, something that I definitely need some assistance with because I've got a huge sweet tooth. Honestly, there are some days where I'm like, oh, I'll have some, at a time like now, it's the height of summer, it's like berry season, and downstairs we've got cherries, we've got peaches, I just bought some watermelon, and I genuinely will be very happy to satisfy a sweet tooth with that. But I won't lie, there are quite a few days a week probably where I'm like, oh, I fancy something sweet, and I fancy something sweet, and that is going to be chocolate, probably not very dark chocolate, just like a bit of Tony's. I love a cookie. I feel like I've not got many vices in life, and actually
you deserve
I just think it makes me happy.
And the thing is, when that is once a couple of times a week, let yourself have it, it is, again, just about that balance because, we've all heard the go-to good, snack if you're craving something sweet is dark chocolate, and you don't always want to go for that. Let yourself live a little sometimes. I mean, I'm a big fan of, I don't know if you've heard of Bouger.
Yes.
I love their ice cream. Again, it's sort of what's in it. And that's what I like about it. It's 5 ingredients. It's, base of sort of nuts, sweetened with maple or dates. And it's so good.
That sounds
and it's same price as Haagen does. So, it's not excessively, you're not paying double for a healthy version. So that's really good. And loving the season of fruit at the moment, now we're in summer. In the winters, that you can make really nice, healthier crumbles super easily, really nice toppings, slightly sweetened, and then, a base of any fruit you want. Add some vanilla, add some cinnamon. It just doesn't need to be excessively sweetened. This is sort of what we do, with our companies as well. You can reduce the sugar levels and they're still, they're still really good.
Yeah.
So that's good. And then just, if you pair with your fibre and some protein, then it helps just curb that blood sugar balance. So you actually you feel good after it, instead of feeling like, oh, why did I eat that?
That's great. So I guess in a crumble, you could be putting some nuts or some seeds into that as well, right?
Absolutely,
Nice.
yeah. Serving it with a creme fraiche or Greek yogurt. We make an oat nut and flour crumble with coconut oil. Really
that
nice.
Sounds lovely. What about that kind of the chocolate and peanut butter bark or nut butter bark? I went through a phase of being quite obsessed with that. It's very good.
Yeah, I love all of that. Yeah, dates, chocolate.
Yeah. And I guess now that you've said it, it's sort of making sense in my head why that actually could be better, because you've got your fibre from your dates, you've got your fat from your nut butter, and then you've got your dark chocolate there as well. And that feels like it's a good combination.
Yeah, really good. Exactly. Yeah. I find that with these alternatives, your palate does change a little bit. It's oh, actually, that's not as nice as I remember it to be.
And it can sometimes taste a bit too sickly almost.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So it is sort of a bit of a weaning process.
Yeah, no. Saying that, give me a box of Celebrations and I'm a happy woman. So some things never change. To wrap up, I'd love to go back to the kind of the topic that brought you here in the first place, which is freezer meals. If anyone's listening and they are interested in trying Nuuda, we're going to have a discount code especially for you guys. So just have a look in the notes below and you'll be able to find that. But if someone actually wants to kind of prep and freeze in advance, are there any meals that you would say are really fantastic to do that with?
When you're making things from home, I think like the natural sort of go-to are the stews and stocks and soups. Anything that is like slightly retains its moisture is good, essentially. So there are, great things to freeze, like, you could freeze your bolognese, your cottage pies, bases and things, and then just like whip up a mashed potato and top it, and it speeds things up. So it's sort of like hacks if you're home cooking. But yeah, like we focus on meals that are time consuming for you to make at home and sort of, shop for. They're the things that you're going to have to go and buy like 15 types of spices to put in, and we do that for you, basically.
Just one more thing that I'd like to say before I stop obsessively going on about freezer meals. One of our family members sadly lost her mum recently, and it's often so tricky to think of what you can do to help people in those situations, or something like a friend giving birth, or having some kind of a surgery. I have started giving freezer meals as a gift in those situations, because it feels like something really practical that you can do to help. In those situations, you often, I think, lose your appetite slightly, and actually food is like the last thing on your mind, but it is so important to keep yourself well nourished. So that discount code is there for you. And I would just say, as somebody who's been on the receiving end of freezer meals, it's a really nice gift for people. Yeah.
When you're going through healing or grief or or post childbirth and things, they are also key times when your body naturally needs more nutrition, not less, and your mind is not there to cook. So it's such a good gift.
Emily, thank you so much for coming today. I have loved this chat. I feel like I've learnt some real golden nuggets of information that I will be applying to both freezer meals and, in the not too distant future, proper home cooked meals in our new kitchen. So thank you. And I really hope that other people will find that too. I'm sure they will. I'd love to know, before we finish up, like, where can people find more from you?
Oh, firstly, thank you so much for having me. I've really enjoyed the conversation as well. So Nuuda is nuudafood.com. If anyone's looking. We're also on Instagram, and my personal Instagram is EnglishEms, if anyone is interested in that as well.
That will all be in the show notes too. And just to wrap up, do you have any final kind of words of wisdom or a final tip that you'd like to give people before you finish up?
Leave this really believing that you have the power to listen to your own body when it comes to what you need, and we all have that gut instinct. I think it's powerful, and it can easily be forgotten.
It is literally the definition of a gut instinct, isn't it, that one?
Absolutely.
I really love that. I have loved this, and I really look forward to more Nuuda meals and to putting some of these tips into use. So thanks so much, Emily.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.